Hello, everyone. Can you all hear me? All right. Thanks, Jacob. All right. Let me share my screen. Okay, you all see my screen?
Yes.
All right. All right. Okay. All right. I believe we have a quiz today now. Okay, I've made the quiz available if you want to get started. It is a little bit longish, but I think 30 minutes should be plenty to complete. There's some folks who haven't just joined yet, so but if you want you can get started now. We might need to wait a little bit longer for those that will join a little later. Can everybody see the quiz?
Does it have the password?
No, I took the password out.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Professor.
Right, for those that are just joining, we do have a quiz today. I made the quiz available and it has no password, so you should find it in your modules, or you go to the quizzes on the left-hand side, your navigation, and you should see the quizzes link. If you go in there, quiz number 3 should be available. It's all about JavaScript, jQuery, things like that. It's a little bit longish, but still, it's you should be ready to be able to do it in the allotted 30 minutes. Let me know if you have a question. If you have a question, please post it on the chat, and I'll answer for everybody. Bring up the chat here. There's no access code. It should be open without a password. If you're just joining, we're having a quiz today. It should be available through your quizzes link on the left-hand side on Canvas. Quiz number 3 should be available. It's all about JavaScript, jQuery, and programming the browser, DOM manipulation, and things like that. Things that we covered last week. And there's no access code. Hot in here. Yes? Anybody have a question? There's no access code for the quiz. I believe it's case insensitive. All answers are case insensitive. We didn't talk about Spring Boot. But you still answer the question. I think there's some folks with who have not muted. If you could all please mute. We did not talk about Spring Boot, but you can still answer the question. For question number 13, let me take a look. The question 13 says, so the jQuery has been probably H1, which of the following options can okay, select all that apply. So your question is, Professor, for question 13, do we have to consider a function surrounding the options? A function surrounding the options. You can assume everything else works. You can assume that this has been properly loaded, that it's in the, if you need it to be in a function, that's fine. Yes. So you can assume that everything has been taken care of, and these options should work, assuming everything else is okay. Right. Same thing for line 14. Assuming that you loaded the jQuery library in the right order, that then you have this script in the body, and then you have this content down below in that order, like that. Given what you have right there, answer one of those options. Yeah, so at the first sentence says, assume that jQuery has been properly loaded. So you can assume that it was ordered in the correct order. Given that, does this code behave like one of those options? It looks like most people got another 15 minutes. Some folks just recently started. Ingrid. I will make the answers available soon. Ingrid, what is your full name? I can't find you. Ingrid Liu. Alexandria. Question 15, is H1 intentionally caps or refers to H1? It's case insensitive, it doesn't matter.
Professor?
Yes.
Yeah, I have a question for regarding question number one. So is there some kind of a trick question that we need those codes as well in the alert box?
Question 1.
Yep.
No, no trick question.
No, it says that alert box should say hello world. So it should say hello world without the codes or with the codes inside the alert box.
I don't believe it matters.
Okay, fine. Because it changes, no? So
Yeah, I think you can use quotes or not quotes. It's just you'll still get it.
okay, cool.
If not, let me know and
Yeah, I think
I'll
because
fix it.
yeah, we'll have different answers for both.
Right. Yeah. I'm pretty sure it doesn't matter.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Looks like half the class is done. Uh, I think your total quiz grade is just the amount of correct points you got and divided by the total number of points. Adam. No, in the end, they all get converted to percentage. They're all weighted the same. Quiz 1 grade. What did happen to quiz 1 grade? What the? I did release the quiz answers. They should all be available now.
Professor, I have a doubt in question number 8.
Question number 8.
Yes, the question says jQuery uses CSS selectors. Does it mean selects the HTML elements, or does it mean it uses CSS in some way to select the elements?
Right. Yeah. So you remember, jQuery can create new content. It can refer to content that already exists in the DOM.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you, Professor.
Yeah. All right. I think we're almost done. Let's see. Okay, so it looks like most people are done. Just checking. Okay, most graduate students are done. Let me check on the undergrad. Okay, most people are done here. Okay, all right, excellent. So most everybody's done. I'm having some trouble with the quiz 1 for the undergrads. For some reason, I can't see the grades for the undergrads for quiz 1. I don't know what's going on. I can see them fine for the graduate folks, but not for the undergrads. So I'm gonna have to look into that. What's going on there? I did release the other grades for quiz 2. Well, quiz 1 as well. You should be able to see quiz 1 and quiz 2 answers. Quiz 3, I still have a couple folks who are going to need to take quiz 3 later tomorrow morning. So I can't release the answers to quiz 3 just yet. All right, I'll release them later tomorrow evening. All right, so let's see where we are. Okay, let me share my screen. Okay. And remember to please everybody mute, okay? All right. Okay, so this is the agenda. Yeah, so let's see. We are finishing up the week 6 of React.js. And so we introduced on how to create components. Our last lecture, we also introduced how to do routing so that we can navigate between multiple screens. We saw that navigation basically consisted in creating multiple components and then using the React Router library, right, to configure multiple pages, right, multiple screens to say that if you saw this particular URL, then we should display this particular component. If you saw another URL, you would see another component, right? So that's the intent of the React Router. We also saw that creating new content, new components is very easy. It's just the implementation of a JavaScript function, right, that had a return, and you could mix and match HTML easily, right? Let me see something in the chat. Yeah, I'll talk about the exam. So we'll introduce the 6th assignment today. And also I have moved all the due dates of the assignments. They're no longer due on Thursday evenings. Instead, they're due on Sunday. So this is including A5, assignment number 5. Instead of being due tonight, it'll be due next Sunday. So not this coming Sunday, the following Sunday, right after the midterm, right? So yeah, and same thing, A6. Oh wait, I'm sorry. A5 will be due this Sunday, right, instead of today, whereas A6 will introduce it today, and it'll be due not this Sunday, the following Sunday after the midterm. Yeah, I think I said that. And so next week. Next week, it's exam week. We're gonna spend the next lecture on Tuesday. We'll discuss the midterm. We'll look at some example midterms from past semesters and prepare for the exam the following Thursday, right? So a week from today. I'm not quite sure if I'm going to be able to make that Thursday. The TAs are going to come and help out. I think at least half of them will be here, so they'll be available to answer any questions. If you can't make it that Thursday, I do have an alternative date the following Friday at 1:35. I am proctoring another exam with another section, so I'll be available there. I will send you a link, and if you want to join, right, I'll be there to answer any questions you might have about the exam. Looks like most everybody can make that Friday. Those that can't make the Thursday, most of you can make that Friday. But if you're still, some of the few folks who can't make it either day, please, schedule something with a TA. Hopefully that same Friday to take the midterm. Okay. Let's see what else.
Professor, I have one question. What
Yes.
will be the time limit?
I'm sorry?
What will be the time limit for exam 1?
Yeah, so the exam will be the whole hour and a half.
Okay.
Yeah, so starting at 7, going through 8:30. It'll be very much like the quizzes, right? Lots of multiple choice, fill in the blanks. Some questions will be like a puzzle, right? Where you have to follow the logic of the application, and you have to figure out, does it do this? Does it do that? Does it display this, or does it display that? So there'll be some puzzles, or we would say, right, fill in the blanks so that the code does X, Y, Z, right? So that it behaves one way versus another. Okay. All right. What is the scope of the exam? So the scope of the exams will be everything up to what we see today, right? So including Redux, including React.js, what we've seen so far, routing, okay, creating components, loading a file and iterating over that file, and rendering content. Okay. So it'll include everything up until this point. So there will be React questions, there will be some jQuery questions, there'll be some HTML, some CSS questions, right? All the way up to the beginning. Yes, it does include React. And we'll look at some questions, some React questions on Tuesday together, and we'll see some of those questions together. We'll solve them together, and so that should help out for Thursday. But I won't ask you anything that you haven't seen, within your assignments, right? So if you're working through the assignments and playing around with the code, you should be just fine, right? And if you review my videos on the lectures where we discuss how to create React components, how to pass data around, how to iterate over components, how to load files, and things like that, how to create functions, and how to break it up into components, how to do routing, right? If you follow all that, right, it won't be anything outside of what we've seen in the lectures or in the assignments. Okay. All right. Okay. So let's I'm going to take a look at what we've done so far in the last lecture, and we'll continue to build on that. We'll look at what the assignment is for upcoming A6, and I want to get started. I want to get you started on some of that, so that I can illustrate what the process is and what you need to do for the assignment to complete it. Okay. All right. So let's see. So the assignment for this week. So if you go to assignments, you go to modules. If you go and click on this, there we go. So this is the assignment. So the assignment, as always, is split up into a couple of sections. There's the practice section, there's the build section, and then there's a challenge section for the graduate folks. And so in the practice, you'll be asked to do some simple stuff on learning how to do navigation, React router, which is mostly what we covered last lecture, right? So again, if you could all unmute, mute. I can hear some background noise, some folks. Yeah, so a lot of what we've covered already in the last lecture, you'll be asked to practice it for the assignment. And as a reminder, all the work in the practice is meant to be submitted as part of your deliverables, right? So I noticed some students are forgetting to do the practice, or they might do the practice, but somehow they're not including it as part of the deliverable, and so you're losing points, right? And maybe I didn't explain myself enough, so we're giving everybody a chance to resubmit, and the practice part, and that's very important that you demonstrate that you did the practice, you understand what you learned, those skills, right, before moving on to the build skill, right? But going forward, make sure to please include the practice as part of your deliverable. And so yeah, so in the practice, you're going to practice some of the skills, and then you're going to use those skills, right, to complete the build part. And the build part is going to consist on porting a lot of the what you built on the previous assignment number 5, right? Assignment number 5, you focus on creating a Twitter clone using jQuery and ES6, right? You created sort of components, functional components, and so we're going to port all that into but we're going to re-implement all that using React.js. Okay, and as you port all that, right, you'll realize that what the differences are, what are the similarities, why do it one way or another, right? And so yeah, so that's going to be the focus of the assignment, right? Re-implementing what you had done in jQuery and JavaScript, re-implementing in React.js. Also, the navigation will be re-implemented, right? The implementation in the previous assignment was through hyperlinks, right? When you clicked on between the home and the Explorer, right? You navigated between 2 different screens, right? 2 different HTML documents. And so we're going to re-implement that so that we are navigating between 2 components, React components. Okay. So let's quickly go over what you are being asked to do. So first of all, right, this is something that we already did in the prior lecture, right? We did declare a root element, right? We did that already. So in the public directory, in the HTML, okay, we declared a root directory like that. See that? So we did that already. And the intention of single page applications, of which React.js is a library that facilitates the creation of single page applications, right? You don't need React.js to create single page applications. You can do single page applications with just plain old JavaScript. With jQuery, it's a little bit easier. So you totally can create single page applications even just with plain old JavaScript. But React.js makes it so much easier, right? And what single page applications are, right, is what I mentioned last lecture, right? We said that it's a modern way of rendering content, right, dynamically using JavaScript, right? That runs right in the browser, right? The browser, the JavaScript in the browser can generate DOM elements, right, and append them to any other element that is there. So we're declaring this root empty tag, and that we're dynamically going to pump content in there, right? And we can do navigation by removing the content programmatically and then showing a different content in there, right? Or having multiple content and then hide, show different parts of the DOM, right? So yeah, so we did this already. I did also ask you, right, that for the TAs to be able to grade you, you have to provide in the same index.html some way of navigating to the old content, right? All your other assignments, right? Assignment 2, 3, 4, 5, and so forth, right? So below your root, right? I'm asking you to please include links so that the TAs can navigate to all your other parts of the assignment, right? Otherwise, it'll be very, very hard for them to grade you. It's going to become everything very slow, right? Trying to find out, how to navigate places. So yeah, so please provide that. Obviously, in a real application, right, in an industrial application, you would not have this, right? You would only just have the root, right? But because we're in an academic setting and the TAs need to grade you just to simplify their world, please include links to that. Okay. All right. So what did we accomplish last lecture? So we declare the root, and which is the root here in the public. And now there's another index document, right, which is this one, the index.js. And here's where we spent most of our time. Oops, last lecture, right? We said that we loaded these two libraries, right? The React library and the React DOM library. The React library providing the core functionality, and then the React DOM allowed us to glue together this new library. The content generated by this new library allowed us to pump all that, right, and render it in the HTML DOM, right? And the way we did that is right here, right? Whatever content we want to render, right? We can say, okay, well, I want to render it in that element, which happens to be this root over here. So it gets rendered there, right? And so we implemented a simple navigation example, right, which is basically just a function, right? In that function, we just did a return here, and what we are returning, right, is a div, right? In that div, we added a browser router, and the browser router allowed us to load up several components, right? But only display one or the other component when the URL somehow matched this pattern, right? /hello, /to-do, /login. It would show one or the other, right? Each one of these were just either simple components, right? Right. The login was a simple component, just rendering login and whatnot, right? And then the to-do, we played around a little bit with that, with some initial data, some default data that was an array of objects that we iterated over, right? We saw how to do it manually, rendering each element one at a time, right? Or inside of a loop that we could iterate and then render the to-do items. Okay. We saw that we could pass objects, either little objects, right? Or we can iterate over an array, right? And then pass each instance to each one of them through the attribute. And the attributes received those parameters through a deconstructor object, right? That extracted that piece of information that you can then use it to render internal content, right? So that's where we left off. So having looked at this, right, we're going to now re-implement what we worked on for the last assignment. We worked on the Twitter clone, right, but using jQuery, right? And I have it right here, right? We created the Explorer, right? We created a couple things here. Yeah, I guess I only have the Explorer here. Oh no, I do have the home. I have the home screen, and we implemented it here in this index, I believe, or maybe here, maybe this index. Let me make sure. Let me try it. Yeah, there it is. So this was the assignment A5, right, where you can navigate between the two, right, and render these. Okay. So yeah, so we're gonna port, right, this implementation. Notice that how we're navigating. Notice that we are literally navigating from one HTML document to another HTML document, right? And all the implementation are implemented as JavaScript components, right? So let's move that over to React.js. Okay, so that's what we're doing. Any questions? Okay, so let's look at the assignment. The assignment walks you through doing some of this. All right, so here's A6. So let's see, it walks you through a lot of the exercises and practice that for you to gain some of these skills, and then it asks you to apply those skills. And I wanted to help you get going with the assignment and just demonstrate how to get started. So I'm going to demonstrate. I'm going to do a couple for you. Let's see. It says, okay, now that we've worked on the examples from all the practice, let's we're going to create a component called build.js. We create a component build.js, and in that build.js, we're going to do all the work for this project. Okay, I believe I've already started. Let me show it to you. So what I did is under components directory, right? Here's the index, and I'm going to replace. This is the example we worked on last lecture, right? Just playing around with a navigation example, but I do have an actual application, so I'm going to comment this out, right? And instead, I'm going to replace it with app. Right. So app is a very common name for the entry point of an application. Right, and so just like that, the navigation example we saw last week, right? App is an application. Okay, it's a function. It's a function, and it uses the browser router so that we can declare multiple routes. Right, one of the routes is the hello world route. Another route is the practice route, and a couple of routes for the home screen, the Twitter, and whatnot. Okay, and I'm going to restart the server. Yeah, I can start it from the command line. Stop this. I can run npm start from here from the command line, or what I've done is that I've created a run configuration here, right? Either way, you can do it from npm start or from here. The way you do it in the configuration, you can say I want to create a new configuration, a new npm, right? And then the script that you want to run, you must run start. So npm start. And it says okay. Oops. Okay. And if you select that, either the start command and you run that, it'll run as if you would have typed from the command line npm start, right? The difference is that if you use the executable like I just did, right, you can step through the code, right, and you can debug a lot, right? So we'll see. Anyway, so this is what your output should look like at the end of the assignment. Okay, should look something like this. With a couple links here that allow you to navigate to a hello world, go back to the practice, or go to the build, this is the port, having ported the assignment number 5 onto assignment number 6. But now this is implemented using React.js, right? And you can navigate between home and explore. I didn't complete the center part. That was for the challenge for the graduate folks. They were supposed to build this part. I didn't do that. Notice that now the navigation is between these two, right? But notice that I never navigate away from the index.html. Notice that these are not HTML documents, right? I'm still in the same index.html, and this content is being pumped into that div. If you notice, if we inspect and we put this at the bottom, you'll notice that here's the root. There it is. See that? And here's a container, and it's displaying. Notice that it's displaying this this home, right? And the content here is empty. See, it's empty. But if I click on explore, right, notice that it's the same root, same container, but now the middle column has content. See that? So we are dynamically, swapping, right, content from the DOM, right, and giving the illusion that we're navigating, right? So that's what single page applications do, right? They never leave, but they still can obviously do navigation, and the back buttons work just the same, right? Which is great. Yeah. So let's see how you're going to get started. All right. Let me demonstrate how you get started. Okay. All right. So I'm going to demonstrate how to get started in the build. Right. We ask you to create a build directory. right? Well, actually, we ask you to do it for under A6 for the assignment number 6 to create a build directory under there, right? Here I didn't put it under A6. It's under just plain old build, right? But just to demonstrate how to do this, right? I am going to do it under lectures, like I'm doing it right now for you. Okay, and so I'm going to, lectures is the same thing as it were for week 6. Okay, and so let me create here a build directory under here. Okay, and so it asks you to get started importing, right, on bringing over the JavaScript work that you did to start off with the simpler components first, right? So for instance, navigation sidebar is one of the easier components, right? This one right here, right? This left-hand side over here is one of the easiest one because it's completely hard-coded, right? None of this is dynamic. Well, maybe the hyperlink, right? On the highlighting, that's dynamic, right? But other than that, right, it's mostly just a whole bunch of links, and that's it, okay? So the implementation for assignment 5, you should have implemented something like this, right? A directory that has navigation sidebar, right? And a JavaScript that does this, right? Now, some of you got a little fancy, which is pretty cool. Some of you, instead of doing this hard-coded, I think some of you had like an array, and you iterated over that array. That's pretty cool. That was awesome, right? If you did that, that's great. You should keep that logic. That's awesome. So I'm just gonna demonstrate how to bring this over, right, and make it a React component. Okay, so what I'm gonna do in my build, I'm just gonna copy. I'm gonna copy this navigation sidebar. And I'm just gonna paste it here. Okay, there it is. I brought it over, and so notice that this code here. Let me close everything else. Close other tabs. This code here, right? It's almost a React component, right? The only thing that's not a React component here is that, well, there's a couple things that are not React, right? One of them is that it uses the keyword class, right? We know that in React, class is a reserved word, right? So we can't use class. So we have to replace all the classes. That's easy, right? You can say just replace class with class name. Right. So this is an opportunity for you to see what the differences are, right, from plain old JavaScript and ES6, right, and when it becomes a React component, right? So let's replace all. Okay, that's done. Another thing that's definitely not React is that, this is a string here. See that? It's a string. Okay, so instead, React components are not strings, right? These are DOM elements that get instantiated in the virtual DOM, right? And then they get appended into the real DOM, right? Whereas this JavaScript implementations were literally, dynamically creating these concatenations of these strings, obviously helped by the fact that we were using this, backtick, and it makes it look like you are working with HTML, but you're not, right? It's just these are all strings. So anyway, so we're just going to simply just remove the strings, right? We're going to remove the strings and no strings. Okay, perfect. The other thing that is also not React here is that because we just removed these strings, now we have this div here, and we have another div. We have two divs. See that? And React doesn't like that, right? React wants to each React component has to return a single element, right? So what we need to do is convert these two elements into a single element, all right? Now, before, when this was concatenated to the to larger HTML DOM, right? It wasn't adding any new DOM, right? Only this was being added to the DOM, right? So we want to have the same behavior here, right? We want to be added to the DOM, but we don't want any extra content. So that's easy. We have the capability of doing that. Where we just use the anonymous or the what we call the fragment HTML elements like that, right? So we can now put this inside here. And I think that's it. Well, actually, no, we have this active, right? The other thing is that instead of passing just plain old parameters, right? And if you have multiple parameters, instead of having a parameter list, where you have parameter 1, comma, parameter 2, comma, parameter 3, right? We're going to abandon that style, right, of parameters. Instead, we're going to pass one argument, only one argument. But that argument is going to be an object. Okay, it's going to be an object, and that object has many properties, right? Property value, property value, property value. So property value, comma, property value, comma, and so on and so forth. So this would be an object that I send in, right? Now that object presumably is going to have one property for now, right? The only property we care in that object is going to be the active property, where it's going to be a string, right? And that string we're going to use to highlight, right? Highlight one of these hyperlinks, right? You know, if the active is active, you know, if active is equal to home, sorry, wait, right? If active was equal to home, then you know, highlight it, right? So if active is home, then highlight it. Otherwise, don't. Otherwise, don't. Right? That's the logic here. So we're going to convert that into an object, and we're going to extract just the active element property in that object. Right? So we're going to just wrap this in a curly bracket. That's it. Okay. Now, if you still look at where active is being used here, right? This variable active is being used right there. See that? Is being used in the calculation of this string, right? This string is dynamically being calculated to have this class, space, and either the active class or nothing, depending on the value of active. See that? So it's an expression, right? This is an expression. And the way we do expressions in React is slightly different, right? There's instead of being just one big expression, right? One big string. Instead, this is a string, right? That's a string expression that needs to be calculated on the fly. So I'm going to convert this into an expression. I'm going to put a curly brackets around it, right? And then I'm going to say, okay, well, it's a string expression. So yeah, so I converted the double quotes into a single quote, into a backtick. Okay, now active is being treated as a variable. Okay, now it's a variable, so $sign active. Right? If it's equal to home, then it values to this. I'm going to do this for every single expression string that needs to be calculated. I need to do that, right? So I'm going to do that again here. So curly bracket and single quote, backtick, and that's fine. I'm just going to do this for all these. So curly bracket, backtick, curly bracket, backtick. Okay, so again, this highlights the differences, you know, on what's different between React.js and plain old JavaScript. Without you having to rebuild this from scratch, right? And I think that's it. Okay. All right, so we have that. Let's render it. I'm going to render it. Let's see if the question in React, you have to do the brackets. Yeah. So right. So these brackets. So class name. The value of class name is going to, if it's hard coded, right? If it's just if it has a static, then you can just use quotes and you're done, right? But if the value of class name, right, is going to be calculated on the fly, then it's an expression, right? So it's curly brackets, and then inside you put your expression. Now in this case, the expression is a string, right? A variable string, right? That's going to concatenate this with something else, right? It could be a variable, right? So this could be a variable, so expression, and you put a variable, and that variable, or it could be a function, right? And the function gets called and the function returns a string, right? So this could be a string. Right. So for instance, we could have done this. Const is active, right? So it's a function, right? This is a function that returns this, or it's returns this string, right? And active is a argument here, right? And home, active and active and what? Path. So if active is equal to the path, so now this whole thing could be converted into a function is active, and you pass active and say home, right? And this too could be converted as well. Right, and this is explore. And this should still work. Let's see, we'll see if it works, okay? But yeah, it's a function that calculates a string. Okay, so anyway, so let's see if this works, right? Let's see if this works. So how do we test it? So we do have at the index, we could just load it at the index. We could just blow away everything else. We could just blow everything, our app, right, which is right now rendering this whole thing, right? We just, we can just comment that out, and this thing should just blow up. Yeah, it's not working. And we could just load that one piece of content we just built, right? That one component, and the component was called, what was it called? Navigation sidebar. Navigation sidebar. There's two of them, one that I built, and one that we just built today, right now. It's that one. Okay. Okay. What are you complaining? What's the matter? Oh, I found a comma. So if I refresh, I need to pass it a active, right? Active. I'm going to say explore. Style. Oh, another thing I forgot. We have styles here, I think. Do we have style? Style. Yeah, style. So just like class name is a protected, I'm sorry, class. The keyword class has a special name, so you can't use that class. So we have to use class name. And class name, we can give it a string or we can give it an expression. Well, style, in regular HTML, you give it a quote, right? You give it a quotation and a string, and you're done, right? In React, you cannot use a string. It has to be an object. It needs to be an expression or something that returns an object, okay, where the name value pairs are property value, CSS properties and CSS values, right? So this font here, and in the practice, right? In the practice section, you are asked to practice this, right? You will practice it and understand how it works. I'm just demonstrating it here. So this string won't work. It needs to be an expression. So I'm going to make an expression. So that expression has to be a JSON object or a function that calculates a JSON object, right? All right. So I'm going to put another curly brackets so that now this is a JSON object, and JSON objects have the format of being name value pairs. Name value, or property value, property name value, property name value. So the property name here is font name, and the value is 0.5 em, right? So we need to format into a JSON. This is not correct JSON, right? So let's format it. right? So this is going to be the property, colon, and this is the value. See that? Okay. I don't know. Do I have any other style? Okay. Notice that it works now. See that? It worked perfectly. Beautiful. Almost. Okay. So it renders fine. I probably do have a complaint if I do an inspect. All right. It's giving me some errors here. So if I do console, one of the things that's complaining about is font size. See that? It's being benevolent, right? It's being forgiving. It says you should use instead font size, right? Camel case, not using dashes, right? So this the properties, right, should follow object naming convention, not CSS naming convention, right? So this should be S, capital S here. Refresh. Okay. Was it another font size? This is on where? Span. Okay. Somewhere else I have a style that it doesn't like. Anyway, I can debug that later. But understand that, yeah, it has to be a style, it has to be an object, not a string. Okay. Now this object could be declared here, right? Or it could be declared elsewhere. You could declare it here. This is a font half, right? Half size. So you can declare the object up here, the JSON object up there, and you can click, say half size font, right? And so you can create a JSON object, and that has the font size, and then the value, 0.5 em. And then this object, right? You can then use it down here, and that's the object. See that? So that might be a little bit easier to read, instead of these double curly brackets. That makes it harder to read. Just, oh, what the heck is this? These double curly, right? The outside curly brackets was saying that style is taking as an argument expression. The second set of curly brackets was the embedded JSON object in there, and you'll find that a lot, right, in code that you might look at it on Stack Overflow or whatever. So you should feel comfortable reading that and understanding that that's what it means when you have double curly brackets like that. All right. Okay. So this still renders fine. Okay. And all right, obviously it doesn't. It also works if I give it another argument. If I say home, right, it renders refresh. Yeah, and it highlights the correct one. Okay. Excellent. Yeah. So let's keep going. So the assignment also asks you to not only do the navigation sidebar, it also asks you to do another easy one. This walks you through each step. Okay, the first one, it walks you through each step. It says make sure, kind of forgot to import React.js. Yeah, import React.js. The active should be an object, right? And that object, you can give it an initial value, a default value, right? So active, it's very common for you to break this up like that and give active your parameters and a default value, right? So you can say, equal to explore. So it's good practice. Remove the quotations, right? Wrap it around divs. Change the classes to class names. Embed any expressions, right? So it walks you through all of them, right? Through. Oh, I don't think I kind of forgot to do the styles. I'll add styles in here. The next one asks you to play around with is the who to follow list item, right? So let me just demonstrate that real quick. So if I go to who to follow list item, this one, right? If I copy that and I bring it over and I put it on this build, there it is. Okay. So we need to convert both of these, because notice there's index.js and there is who to follow list item. Right? So let's start with who to follow list item. And so as the assignment progresses, right, the assignment is going to kind of stop repeating itself over and over, right? Because you have to do the same thing for all of these, right? So it's going to assume that you already did something before, and it's not going to repeat it again, right? So for instance, here is not reminding you that you need to import React.js. It's not reminding you how to do that, right? So it says, you should start with list item, this one, and it's not going to remind you that you have to import React because we already told you in the previous step, right? React. Okay. So, but remember to do that. The other things, right? It's not going to remind you that all these quotes have to go. Right there. That you need to replace all the classes with class names, right? Class names, replace all. Anything that is anything that is dynamic, any string that is hard coded, you could leave it with double quotes. That's fine. But any other string that is not hard coded, like this one, see that? That's an expression, right? So it needs to be curly brackets, right? And so the value here of that expression is in the variable who, and it's in the avatar icon, right? So you don't need to solve. You can just just take that, right? That is the value. Who dot avatar icon, right? Here as well, this who username, the $sign was there just because this was part of a bigger string, right? No longer, right? So you could just take that out and it's just a curly bracket and you're done. Same thing here, you don't need the $sign. Okay, anything else dynamic? Also this has to be in a curly bracket, right? Curly bracket. And the who, right, could have a default object, which I don't know if I give you an example of that. I don't. Oh, I do, yes. Right, so here's an example of what the who might look like. So I can, there we go. Anything else? I think that's it. So you could test this again. You could test it individually by going back to the top level index, right? And you can just blow this away, and just reload that. And what's it called? Who to follow list item, and it's the one we just created under the lectures, comma. Where is it rendering? Let's render. Oops. There's a style. Somewhere there was a style. I guess there was a style. I didn't see. Find style. Oh, there it is. Same thing. Font size. Same thing as before, right? So very easy, right? We're just gonna convert that into an expression, a JSON object, right? This is the property name. That's the value of the property, and the naming convention is camel cased. There it is. See, it's rendering up there. See that? Okay. All right, so it's working. Excellent. Yeah. Obviously, if you want to render both. Okay, is there a question? So are we allowed to use style attribute right now? So styles in general, using the style attribute in general is a bad practice. Okay, so yeah, you shouldn't be using the style attributes. But I'm gonna let it pass since it's something that you should learn how to do in how to do it using React.js, right? But in general, You should not. You should be creating your CSS styles and then tagging this class attribute. Okay, let's see what else. Then the assignment does walk you through doing the next one, which is the who to follow list, right? Which is, having finished who to follow list item, right? Now you should be able to do the outer list, right? And so we did copy it, right? It's this one right there. Okay, so a couple things. We're gonna import the who to follow list item JS, which is this one, right? We're importing it. So a couple of things. So first of all, right, we're not gonna repeat it, but right, you've learned it in the previous step that we walked you through. Let me see, is there a question? All the style sheet and the script, all the style sheet and the script would go to the very first index.html. All the style sheet and the script go to the very first index. No, actually, all the styles. That's a good question. So say you're styling something. Actually, let me answer that right quick. Okay, so see, let me take back the style that I mentioned earlier. Yeah, you should not have styles in here, right? So what you would do is the following. So you have a style that is specific to this item, or maybe to the who to follow list, right? It has its own styling, its own colors, its own themes, whatnot, right? So what you would do is that you would create a CSS file that is specific to this one component. Now, if this is a style so common that everybody's going to use it, then you would have a global. Like for instance, there's this one, index.css. Okay, so this index.css is a global CSS file which is being loaded by index. See that? I commented out. I don't remember why. What's in there? Body, blah 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 blah. Yeah, I don't think it's doing anything wrong. Yeah, it's not hurting. So yeah, so this is a global CSS file that everybody can see. Right? So you could declare global styles here. You could say, font, dot font size 05 EM, right? And then here, oh, not dot, sorry. And in here you could say, font size, 05 EM. Okay. Now you can, since it's loaded at the root of the index, right? That means that every component underneath will get this, right? Just like we, yeah, you have that index. So now I can go back to my who to list item here. Instead of having this style here, if I remove that, I can now apply the font size 05 EM. See that? Okay, this is a much better solution. All right. Now, if you have a style that is specific to this one component, right, then you can declare a CSS file specific to this component. You can say new style sheet, and maybe you can call it something like, who to follow, right, .css. It's so specific to this one component, right, that the name of the file follows the name of the component, right? And so in here you can, you can say, I don't know, whatever, BG red, color red, background color red. Okay. And then in your index you can load that one. Well, actually, no, we're doing not this one. We're doing this one, right? In here, you can load that one CSS. You can say import, right, that CSS. See that? So now that CSS is only visible in this component. right? No other component can see it, right? The style is specific to this one, right? Regardless of the spec, ignore. Okay. So if now I can use that and I can apply it here, say, right? Instead of I can say BG color red. I don't know if that's going to work. Yeah, see, it's red. Okay, but it's only for that one component. Okay, can child components see it? Yes, child components can see it too. Yes, correct. Anything underneath that is loaded can see it, but nobody above. Right. Okay, so here's put a follow list item. So now let's go back to the parent. Here's the parent. Again, same thing, right? We're going to the first thing is we're going to import React. Right. The JS files in React components is optional. It says, I see that we are importing React in every file. Does it not work if we import in just the main file? Yes, it does. It does work if you just import it in the top one, but it is a good practice to list all your dependencies for the component. So this component depends on all these other things. So it's always a good practice to list all your dependencies. Can we use Bootstrap to do styling in the meantime? Yes, yeah, absolutely. So this is Bootstrap is working right now because, wait a minute, how are we loading Bootstrap here? Bootstrap, where are we loading Bootstrap? Index, blah, 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 blah. Where am I loading Bootstrap? Index app. Oh, yeah, I'm loading it here in app.js. In app.js, what I did is I moved over the vendors from here. I moved them over to the source directory, and you have Bootstrap and Font Awesome and well, I don't need jQuery, right? I can remove that. I don't need jQuery. And so yeah. So what I did is I loaded my Bootstrap, /vendors. Right, so from app.js, right, I'm going into vendors and going down to Bootstrap, CSS, and loading the min from here somewhere. CSS. Okay, there's a min here, I think. Yeah, there it is, min. And I'm also loading the override, my override. This is the one that's Onyx that makes it black, the black background. And then I'm loading Font Awesome, right? So yeah, and this all has to be loaded just once at the beginning, right? And then it trickles down to all the content in there. See, I have app.js. I see you have app.js. Yeah, right. App CSS. Right. It's common that if you have a component and that component has a specific styling, right, you put it in there, right, and you load it for that specific component, right? Like we did for component build, no, lecture build, blah blah blah. This one over here, right? So anyway, so let me go further a little bit. So in the index, right? In JavaScript, jQuery, right, that we implemented last week, the .js is mandatory, right? You have to explicitly say what file you're loading. Not so in React.js, right? That's not mandatory, so we can remove that, .js. Okay. This is the component we just built 2 seconds ago. Also, this who, right now, the implementation is that this is a JavaScript file that is declaring a variable, right, that is being exported so that it can be imported from above. Okay, hypervisor, so you import CSS to JS. Yes, CSS, we're importing CSS files into JS. Yep. So a better solution to instead of having these variables like this, right, is that this could be an actual JSON file. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this. I'm going to make it convert it into JSON file. Okay, so this is no longer going to be a variable, so I'm going to remove that, and no longer it's going to be. There we go. I'm going to fix that. A couple of things. JSON files have to be formatted as JSON, proper JSON. And that means that the properties need to be double quoted, right? And the string values have to be double quoted. Boolean and integers and numbers, they don't need to be quoted, right? But strings need to be quoted. So I can go one by one, fixing these one by one. Or in my IDE, it gives you a little option that it can fix for the whole file. So fix all the files. So it fixes all of them. And also notice that we had added an extra comma at the end. That is a good practice in JavaScript files. You know, when you're doing an array or objects, to add that extra comma so that it's easy to add elements below. But it's not a good practice if this is a JSON data file. Okay, so it's complaining not to have that extra comma. So you can go one by one. I think my IDE might be able to fix it. Inspection, compliant, blah, 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 blah. Edit inspection, blah, 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 run inspection. I guess not. I'll have to do one at a time. There we go. Okay, now it's compliant. It's a valid JSON file. Now in here, instead of loading the who.javascript, I can load the actual JSON file, JSON. Right, so here you do have to explicitly say .json, right? So now who is a JSON data piece of data. We can iterate over it. We have to fix it a couple things here. No strings, right? No strings. Okay, we don't need to wrap this. We don't need to wrap it because UL is already a single element, right? There's no join. We're going to do a map just like before, but there's no join because this is not a string, right? And we don't need this $sign because again, we're not a string. What else? Let's see. We have who. Oops, not this. UL doesn't. It's not here. The UL goes here. Also, who to follow list is not a function anymore. It could be a literal tag. So we're going to replace this for a tag. So like that is a tag. And the attribute, the parameter, is not going to be as a function parameter list. Instead, is a attribute who. And we're passing the value of this who right there. See that? Okay. I think that's it. Let's see. Let's try this out. If we go back to the index, right, we can try that. So who to follow list. Oh wait, list, is it? List. And that one. And let's see, let's refresh. There it is, the list. See that? Okay, perfect, excellent. Anyway, so the assignment keeps going and walks you through all those steps. You know, loading JSON files, how to convert it, mapping over the arrays, you know, post summary items, right? And you're going to go through, you know, building all these components, porting them from JavaScript, right, and converting them into React.js versions of those components. Okay. At the end, you're going to end up with an Explore screen. I give you the whole code here, right? So, you know, if we grab this, and you have in the build, you have Explore. I think it's Explore screen. And I think, oh, another thing is that now instead of creating the name of the file being the name of the component, like we did here in who to follow this item, notice that I use an index.js. See that? Let me show you. I'm going to do it right there, index.js. Okay. And I'm going to paste the code here. So what I'm doing here is that it says, wait, why didn't you name it the same name of like you did over here, right? See that over here? We did this here, index. See that? We did index. I said, wait a minute, what? And notice that it contains JavaScript, right? And the way we loaded it, right, from index was just like a tag, right? Well, that's one of the beauties of not having to put the JS at the end, right? When you don't put the JS at the end, this could be either an actual file called that way with a .js at the end, or it could be, notice if I click on it, it goes into the index file, see that? Or it could be a directory called with that name, right? Containing an index.js file in there, right? Right, because index being the default content, right? Just like index.html is a default document, right? Index.js is the default JavaScript file, right? That contains the component. So there is, so in screen is that. So yeah, we don't have the export component, so I'm going to leave that. And so now we should be able to just load these two. No, let's do that. So in my index.js, right, I should be able to just load now my explore screen that we just built, right, and see what renders. Oh, it wants explore components, which I don't have just yet. So let me comment that out. Yeah, I don't have that. There it is. So we're getting closer, right? Probably, I guess you need a container here somewhere. No, maybe. Yeah, I must have added the container earlier in the assignment. Oh, why is my container not working? Oh, I didn't add container. Class name container. There it is, right? So yeah, it's starting to behave the way it's supposed to behave. Okay. Hi, Professor. You import CSS? Yeah. Okay. Where does the index file name come from? E.g., we've been using index. Yeah. So yeah, why index? Right? Why index? So the original intent of the index file, right, was that it started with this public directory. In the public directory, notice that we had this index.html, right? So it comes from, right, if you visit any website, right, notice that we're not asking for any specific document, right? We just gave it a domain name, but we are rendering a document, right? So if you say inspect, you'll get the network, right? You can say view page source. So this XML, this HTML lives in a file. Okay, it lives in an actual file, right? Somebody wrote this, and so the default name of that file is index.html, right? And servers, when you go to a server and the IP address gets hit, the server needs to know what document do you want, right, from my file system. And if the servers are configured that if you don't say which document you want, it will give you index.html, right? And you can configure the default file. You can say home.html, index.html, whatever, right? And the name index comes from the fact of it's like a book, right? If you're reading a book and you want to know the content of that book, you go to the index. You go at the end of the index, right? And then the index tells you where you can find everything, right? You say, well, page 234, you can find that. And you have a list of all the content of the book. So you don't have to read the whole book. You can jump to the index and then do jumps into the, so that's where it comes from, the name index, right? The default page is supposed to give you access to the rest of the website. Yes. Are we having an exam next Tuesday? Thursday. No, we're having Thursday, not Tuesday. Thursday. It's going to take the whole lecture, an hour and a half. So anyway, yeah, we're past a little bit of our time. I'm gonna, let's see, are there any questions? I'll be doing office hours from now on.
Hi, Professor.
Yeah, let me stop sharing here. Hi.
Yeah, I was just wondering if you could go over how to do the active thing for the homework. I mean, obviously not like tell us how to do it, but like give us a hint. I'm kind of a little bit lost with that last part in the challenge for assignment 4 or 5. Yeah.
Yeah, so
A5, yeah.
I mean, we just did it, no? But yeah, we can take a look at it.
Yeah, I
Let's
was.
see. Yeah, so say you JavaScript, right? And you have a nav bar, right? Nav bar. Right, and this nav bar, right, is a const nav bar.
Oh, I meant without the React, or I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter, right? Or,
Oh,
yeah, the
yeah, I
stuff
mean, it doesn't
like the
matter.
challenge part. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Yeah, okay, that makes
Yeah,
sense.
let me show you. So what,
Yep.
you know, in the, and we just looked at this, right? So this is rendering each one of the line items, each one of the hyperlinks, right? They're just hyperlinks.
Yeah.
And the class, the outer one, the first one is just Twitter and it's not pointing anywhere, right? So that's
Mhm.
never going to be active.
Right.
But then all the other ones have class, and the class is going to be a dynamic string. So this string is going to be the concatenation of a hard-coded class, which is list group item, which is renders it as a line item, right?
Right.
And then I'm going to concatenate either home. So this is either going to be list group item space home, or it's going to be list group item space empty string. So it's either going to be list group item or list group item and then home. Okay. I'm
Oh, I
sorry.
see. Okay.
I'm sorry. Active. sorry, not home.
Oh, I see. So
Uh,
then in home screen.js or whatever, you put like you
yeah.
put in
So
home
active is going
as
to
the
be an
okay.
argument, right? You're going to pass an argument.
Yeah. Okay.
And
This
if
makes
you
sense.
pass the home argument, right, it's a string. So if it's active is equal to home, then this whole thing evaluates to active.
Right.
Otherwise, it
That makes
evaluates to
sense.
empty. Right. Same thing with
Yep.
this, right? If this one evaluates to explore, then this is active, and so on and so forth.
Okay. Yeah. Now I get it.
Now, some
Sorry, I
folks
don't know.
did something really cool, right? They put this in a loop, right? And it looped and
Right.
generated this. That was pretty cool. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Sure. Next. Again, just to recap about the exam next Thursday, we do have 2 times to take the exam. It's either on Thursday at 7, or you could come on Friday at 1:35. If you were already coming on Thursdays, please come on Thursday. I know there's only like, I don't know, maybe 10 or 20 folks who can't come on Thursday, who have already told me who they are and whatnot. So I'm expecting those folks, right, to come on Friday. I've already asked them, and it looks like most of those who can't make it on Friday regularly because they have another class or whatnot, they can make it on Friday at 1:35. I will be posting on Piazza a link, Zoom link for those folks to join, and they can take the exam at 1:35. If you can make either one, which I believe it's a small number of folks, I believe, you can make arrangements with TAs during their office hours. Please make the arrangements for Friday, right? Don't linger this onto the weekend or anything like that.
Hey, Professor.
Yes.
Got a question about the hyperlinks at the end of assignment 6.
Hyperlinks at line 6.
So for assignment 6.
Yeah.
So I've been experiencing that if you like using React Router and hyperlinks to like explicit HTML files on the server, you can
Yep.
access like them from, so yeah, those links at the bottom, you can use those, or in my environment right now, they work fine if you're starting at the base URL, but if you've used a
Yeah.
React
Once you go
router,
into the React
it
routing,
just
you're
gets
screwed.
crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's cool. Is that okay?
That's fine. Yes.
Okay, cool. It really does get insane. And I was like, this is not working. But
Yeah. Well, the way React routing works is that it hijacks the clicks, right?
Right.
And it redefines how navigation completely works. So
cool.
Yeah.
And all good. Thanks.
sure.
Hi, Professor.
Hi.
I have a question regarding our homework A5.
Okay.
It looks like some arrows. Would you mind me share my screen?
Sure. Let me. I'll need to enable that. Just a second. Go ahead.
It says something arrow when I.
Are you sharing your screen?
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sharing my screen right now.
I don't see it yet.
Could you see the screen?
No, not yet.
Not yet.
No.
I can see the screen.
You can?
Yeah.
Huh. Oh, there it is.
Okay.
Okay, let me just move this over.
I just copy and paste your template to the IDE, but it shows nothing, and in the console it shows something.
Okay, so let me see what's going on here. What did you do? Can I see the source code? What assignment is this? Is that A5?
A5, yeah.
Okay. Okay, so webdev, yada yada yada. Vendors, blah 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 blah. HTML. Okay, can I take control?
Sure.
All right, so let me see what's going on. So how are you running this? From here?
Yeah.
Are you running it from here?
Yeah.
Uh,
A5.
how do you run it?
Oh,
Is this ultimate?
yeah.
I don't see. There's no JavaScript support here.
I'm not really sure. I don't know.
Well, you show me. Can you show me how you're running this?
Actually, no, it's in the build part. Explore.
Okay. Oh, okay. I see. Yeah. No, that's not gonna work. Yeah, let me see. Look, can I take control?
Okay.
It's not gonna run. Why are you not running it? Let me see. npm. Let's see. All right. So, okay. So this is promising.
Yeah.
You this is assignment 5, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what we're going to do is, where's your index? This one, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So we're going to add a section for assignment 5. And so we're going to add a link to your Explore. Paste. Where's paste? Yeah, my Control V is not working. Oh.
I could paste it. I can help you.
Let me see. Ah, worked. Okay, so this is 5.
Yeah.
Ah. Yeah, my keyboard's not so where is it? It's A5, build, explore screen.
For HTML.
Yep. So if we refresh. Okay, now you don't have so many errors.
But you can look at the console.
Okay, let's see. jQuery, blah, 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 blah. Failed to load module. Okay, it says that you're not, okay. JavaScript. So you can't find JavaScript. Why can't you see JavaScript? This is, okay, so you're loading jQuery. And so you're going up 1, and then 2, and then jQuery, and then 3. You have to go up twice, 3 times. Right?
Mhm.
Vendors.
Oh, sorry. Sorry about
Okay, that looks better.
Yeah. But it's Harold.
So jQuery. Okay, so you can't find jQuery. Are you sure that's the name? Oh, where is it? I don't see jQuery here. Yeah, you need this file.
I need jQuery.
Yeah, you don't have it under vendors. See that? You're saying that it's under vendors, but it's not. You need to download jQuery and copy it in here and make sure that this name matches with the new name of jQuery. And
But I think the jQuery is. Oh, okay. Oh, so the jQuery should be in the vendors.
yes,
Okay.
Yeah.
And,
somewhere.
okay.
Yeah. So, but it looks like it's working. It says yes, it's complaining that it can't find jQuery.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, it looks like it's working. So yeah, just to make sure. Hello.
Mm-hmm.
Hello. Yeah, it's loading. Okay.
And also, I have a question. I did a stupid thing yesterday. As I override, you required us to download a file and put it into the vendors, but I override that file. So
Well, you mean for Bootswatch?
yeah,
Yeah, you can download it again. Bootswatch.
I mean, I put the Boots watch to the
It's this one.
yeah.
You can download it. It's right there. You can grab it.
Actually, I downloaded it But when I put in the vendors, it also has another same name file. So
Yeah,
I
don't overwrite this one. Yeah, don't overwrite this one. Put it maybe here.
but if I override it, what should I do right now?
Yeah, no, leave it like that. Right, that this bootstrap that we just downloaded, put it right there. That's perfect. Under here, right there. Don't put it under here, right? Don't overwrite this. Put it here, like you did it here, just like that. Perfect.
Okay.
But you
Uh,
just has to be under here. Like you put it here. See that? Yeah, like that. Just like that.
oh, and also I have a question regarding A4.
A4.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, it's not A4. Oh. So it should be the explore part. So the one thing is in the left side, the home should be on the right of the
Yep.
icons. Yeah.
Yep.
And also when I compress this website, the entertainment is under the for you. It should be in this part.
No, it's supposed to disappear when it's too small.
Or it's too small.
Yeah.
And also in the Java should be
Yeah.
on the left side.
Yeah, I know it looks like you're using center somewhere. You should remove any centering.
Centering.
Yeah, you must be using text align center or something like that. Yeah, assignment 4, it's quite a bit a while from previous week. I do have other folks that want to know something about assignment 5 this weekend. You know, perhaps we can chat later. You know, ping me later tomorrow morning. We can take a look at it.
Sure.
Yeah, but I have other folks that need help on assignment 5.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Hi, Professor.
If somebody has like a really quick question?
Yes, I have for Simon.
Okay, go ahead.
Thanks. Can I share my screen?
Sure, go ahead.
I'm sorry, but mine is a really quick question. But can you like push your code, like the class code, or like would that ever be available to students or no?
Well, the thing is that the code that I have is like the answer to the
Okay, understood.
So and the video has everything, right? You have all the code on the video.
Sure, thank you.
All right.
Professor, are you able to see my screen?
I can, yes.
Okay, so one question I want to ask is that I'm using Bootstrap cards where I can put image and content both. But
Okay.
for this particular post, we are not supposed to write any content here. So how can I remove the card body? I tried conditions, but it's not working actually. Could you please help me?
Can I see where you're rendering that?
Sure. So here, it's my post item.js file, and this is my card body. And I don't want for second post this.
So you're saying that, let me take control. Let's see, let me see. Are you saying that you don't want to render
Card body.
this?
Yes.
Okay. So what I would do is, so I'm based on what? Based on posts what? On not having a title or
Not
body or what?
Yeah, whole thing. Link
I
body.
know, but based on what? Why don't you want to render? Because you don't have a body?
No, yes, don't have a body. That's why.
Okay. So what you could do here is a class, right? Hidden. Say call it hidden, right?
Hidden.
Actually, do we have a class hidden? Let me see. Let me just check. Bootstrap hidden. Display property, blah blah blah. Okay, well, I guess we could check to see if it works first. D none. Okay, save that. Can we refresh that screen?
Hmm.
Yeah, which one is it?
This, yes,
Is that it?
yes.
Okay, just
Oh, it's removed.
okay. So, but you want to do that logically, right?
Hmm.
So again, you can say you can put this in an expression. You can put an expression.
Okay.
And this is JavaScript, right?
Yes.
This is Java. Okay. So you say, well, if you know, post, you know, link, body.
Professor, post spelling after S, POSTS. Yes,
Yeah.
S.
So post
Hmm.
link body. So if I have that, then I'm not going to render anything. But if it is, if I don't have it, then I want to render D none, right?
Okay.
So oops. Where's the browser? Can you go to a browser?
Yeah, sure.
Can you refresh the browser? There you go. See that?
Yeah. Thanks. Thank you so much, Professor. And
All right.
one more last question. It's very
What?
quick. So I want this active, but it's actually not working. I put conditions here. I give argument here active and use this
Yeah. So
condition.
who's calling this navigation sidebar? Who's calling that? Can I see who's calling it?
Okay. Yeah. Wait. Explore screen. Yeah. This.
Okay. So this one. Okay. See that navigation sidebar should be in quotes explore. You should pass an argument there. That's a string explore. And then where are you loading the home? So go to home HTML maybe, or
So okay.
or your home home screen .js, home screen.js. Right there on the left, I see home screen.js. Yeah, go in there. Yeah, so now call that, put a pass home in quotes. It's a string, right? So that's going to be the active, right? And it's going to be compared.
Okay.
Okay, now do refresh.
No, it.
Yeah, no, okay. So the explorers for some you have an error in your code.
Okay, so I need to. Yeah, I think I put here active. That's why. Okay, thanks, Professor.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Next.
Thanks.
Yeah. Wait. I think there's a questions on the chat. Just a second. Would not use. A6 does not. Yeah. A6 does not use jQuery. Would not. Okay.
Sorry, we are asking what are the benefits of using jQuery over React or vice versa?
So jQuery is very low level. It's a direct manipulation of the DOM. So it's a very thin layer on top of JavaScript, right? It standardizes. It creates a virtual browser, so you don't have to deal with the actual browser. So it's a very thin layer on top of JavaScript. React is an entire component-based infrastructure on top of JavaScript. And it includes things such as a virtual DOM, where you don't directly manipulate the DOM. Instead, everything is drawn on a virtual DOM, and and this optimizes the performance of manipulating the DOM. It's very, writing to the DOM is very slow. And so what React.js does to improve performance of rendering complex things on the UI is that CPUs are pretty fast, so they could do comparisons against virtual objects, and where there are differences, then it updates the UI. Otherwise, it doesn't update it unless necessary. It also establishes a state management, which we haven't covered, right? That can be fairly complex if you just use plain old JavaScript. We're going to be using, advanced state management strategies such as Redux and non-mutable objects, minimization, some really advanced topics that that React.js brings that low-level jQuery doesn't have.
Hi, Professor.
Yes.
I have questions for homework 5.
Okay.
Can I share my screen?
Sure.
It's the challenge part, the home screen. So I know we need to make this responsive. Right now, this logo is a little out of the box. So do I need to fix it or not?
Yes.
Also, I need to fix this.
Yeah. Yeah. So that it means that the column sizes have to change, right? So the column is not big enough to hold that, so it needs to grow to make space for it.
Because
also,
in the explore screen, it's in the center part, so it is wide enough. Now moving it to the right side,
right,
the space is not enough. Okay. Another question is here. The picture is not flush with the round corner here.
oh, interesting.
So how do I fix this?
Why is that? Weird. Let me see. Can I take control?
Yes.
Image wood. Huh.
Hi, Professor.
Yeah.
A quick question. So I have the same issue like with the round corner with the image, and I asked this question during the office hour. The TA told me we shouldn't use like a condition when the image is without the content below. We should make the image with round corner. So would you mind give a like demonstrate like how we should do that? Because that will be related to the CSS, right?
Yeah. Wait, what's this image? Image. So what are you doing here? How do you, where are you bringing the image? Image, oh, Biden, okay. And where's that extra space underneath? What is that? Do you get a padding or something? Border radius.
I don't think I have a padding.
Yeah, it's no padding, no margin, no border. So it goes up to here. And what's this? Oh, this is making empty 2. What is this? With with margin top. So this doesn't have padding. Oh, see margin, there's margin above. And that's just some space above, right? There's no
Yeah.
padding here. And what's this? Aha. Yeah, you don't want that. I see what you did. What's this here? Border rounded. What's this div here? Let's move that. This is this. Okay, that is, I want the rounded corner here. Right, border radius. Where's border radius? Radius, there we go. Oh, there it is at the top. And why is it not doing radius at the bottom? Border radius. Oh, is the border radius down below? Maybe. Let's see, what is this? Okay. Oh, wow, the image is spilling over. That is funny.
I think the class WD image has has top radius. He doesn't have bottom radius. That's the reason.
Border top. Oh, here it is. Oh, you have a per. Yeah, you don't need just need just one. There we go. Yeah, there we go. So I guess here you don't need this. There we go, something like that. There we go, something like that. Yeah.
Hey, Professor,
Yes.
would you mind showing us how to do this with a condition? Because like when we're having the content below the image, we are supposed to make it not
Yeah.
wrong,
So
yeah.
I would not put the. So first of all, I would not put the border radius on the image. I would put it on the parent. Right. I would do this instead. Right. Oh, you have it on here. What do you mean? Why would you want to do that?
Because like I believe it's Anissa just asked you the question about how to remove
Oh,
the
okay.
bottom top. Yeah.
Yeah.
So when we having the condition like without the
right. So
bottom
what I
part,
would
we
do
should,
is just
yeah.
like I did for the prior student, right? I would have a class called, say, border radius bottom or something, whatever, right? The one that gives me this at the bottom. And I would only apply that class if I don't have a content, right? If instead I do have content, then I would not apply the class. Did you see how I did it for the prior student?
Yeah, for the D now, right?
Yeah, so I would do the same thing. So in here, it would be an expression, $ expression, and it would say, posts dot, content question mark, right? So that if I have content, then I don't add the class. But if I don't have content, then I do have the class.
So we are supposed to putting the image in class name in there also, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I have another question for the explore screen.
The what?
Explore screen. So
Okay.
right now there is a gap here.
Mm,
I don't know how to get rid of it.
interesting. Let me see.
I think it's a sparse. Is this text here is causing the problem?
Oops, what happened? Let me see. So there's your image. What's this? Row. Border margin. What do you think it's causing the problem?
The SpaceX Starship, the text in the picture.
Oh, this text?
Yes.
Oh, maybe.
When
Well, let's
I
see. What
when I
happens if I
delete-
remove it?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, look at that. Wait, what? What did I do? What? Let's see if I refresh. What happened? Yeah, refresh. What happened? Why is it taking so long? How come it's taking so long? Did your server crash?
No.
What happened? Is it still thinking? What's it doing? I think either your browser or your server crashed. It's not responding. Is this it? Explore screen? Hello?
Hello. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, let's try it again. Can you run it again?
Okay.
Here? Oh, I think there was a, which one was it? Home?
No, no, no. Up. Oh, yes.
Oh, wait. Page. Oh, see that? Go back. There was an error. See that? Go back to browser. Oh, browser. Okay, went away.
I don't see any.
Yeah, no, it went away. Go back and run it again. Oh, see that? It pops out. Go back. See that? What is that? Page without authorization, blah, 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 blah. Right, say no. Oh, okay, I know what's going on. Yeah. Okay, run. Was it Explorer? Yeah, you shouldn't be using those icons to run this. But anyway.
Then how do I run it?
You should right click it and say execute.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so let's see. So it's this, right?
Yes.
So what are you doing here? Position relative, Z index 1, bottom. Left, font. WD text, it's this one. So row, row. Yeah, this can't be in a row.
Oh, okay.
Row has to contain columns. Right, so below row, you can't have this. It has to be in a column. So put it, how is this rendering? column 10, column 10. You have row. What's this row? What is this? Okay, that's the top. Okay, good. Yeah, column, very good. Yep. And what's this UL? Okay, this UL. Okay, it's under this column. Okay, good. Now this row again needs to, yeah, I don't think you need row.
Okay, yeah, there is an extra row here. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want this.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Gutter X. Okay, margin top. Margin left, row. Yeah, something is, oh, is this one? What is it? Something's pushing, but yeah, see the row is creating the push. You don't want the row there.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you,
All right,
Professor.
bye.
Oh, Professor, I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Can I share my screen?
Sure.
Okay. Can you see the code or should I zoom in?
I can't see anything yet. I think I still see the same students before. Okay, wanna try. Okay, now I can see it.
Awesome. Okay, so for the navigation, I used a similar pattern to what we were supposed to do for the who to follow, and that worked. So I have a navigation options, and then I have that. But in the main screen, here, when I call who to follow list item with a who with just a sample object, it renders this. But when I try to call this, it just goes blank. So when I uncomment this and I hit save, my screen just goes blank.
All right, can you see any errors?
No, I don't see any errors. Like when I check the console, yeah.
Can you show me the?
Yeah, so when I check the console, all this just disappears. Like there's
Okay,
just
the
nothing.
console. All right, so go to console. Click console. All right, can't load JSON. It can't. Okay, so this is A5, right?
Yes.
Yeah, you can't load JSON. You have to load. Yeah. Okay, so this is who.js, right? You need to load who.js, not JSON.
Okay.
Okay, so where's your JSON? Okay, there we go. So load.js.
Okay. No,
Okay,
that's
what about what's the who to follow list.js? All right, go to who to follow list.js.
Yeah, that's this one.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's saying
It says okay. So put a .js at the end.
okay. Oh wow.
There we go.
Okay. That fixed. Awesome. Thank you so much. That's it. That was all. Thank you.
Yeah, you could do that in React, but not in Java. Just plain old JavaScript.
Oh, okay, makes sense. Makes sense. Thank you.
All right.
Hi,
Hi,
Professor.
Hi.
Yeah, can I share my screen?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, can you see my screen now?
And yes, now I can.
Okay. Yeah, actually, I start homework 6 earlier. So the only change is that you put A6, right?
Yes. Yeah, just thinking ahead for the other assignments that are coming up, so they can coexist.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. You only the only change you make.
Yeah, that's the only change. Yes.
Okay. Okay. I see. Yeah. Another question is that for the practice part, I don't know why yours is look like this, but mine is a little bit different. This is your output, and for me, practice. Yeah, mine is like this. I don't know why my dangerous background is red and yours is like green. I checked.
Oh, because it was a true false.
Yes, I put it true, and you also put it true in the homework. So that.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think I asked you to try different things like true, false, and.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, maybe I left it. Whatever.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Another question is about build part. Actually, my build part, yeah. So in my bar item, I pass 2 items.
Okay.
Is that fine? Because in your method, you just put, I think it's active. Yeah, you just put
yeah,
one
you're
parameter
welcome
and
to add more attributes. That's totally fine.
okay. Okay, that's all for my question.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Sure.
Hi, Professor.
Hi, what's up?
Hi, I just have a, can I share my screen?
Sure, go ahead.
Yeah, sure. So I just have a issue to upload to the GitHub. So it's I just git add. So here after I enter the git push, and then it will show like that. But I tried this and it shows rejected. Oh, sorry. It's
No, don't worry about it. Yeah, so it looks like your branch, your remote branch is not up to date, or the local branch is not up to date with the remote branch. So you need to either pull first, or you need to force and push this and override whatever you have in the remote server. So it's up to you. What do you want to do?
how about I want to force to push it.
Yeah, so you do --F and it'll force the push.
--F.
No. Git push --.
Git wait for a moment. I just git push
Space and then --F.
--F like that.
Yeah. Or maybe just one F, one dash, maybe.
Okay, cool.
Right.
It will.
Wait. Did you set the upstream? Did you copy that? Git push blah blah blah.
Yes, I did that, but
Do it again.
will show some errors here.
Okay. Wait. Let me take control.
Sure.
And don't worry about the noise in the background. Don't worry about it. I had 4 kids. I went through that.
Okay.
So git push. So push doesn't like it. So like, okay. Copy. Okay, it pushed it.
Oh, okay, I got it. So
Yep.
right now and next time I just like push that and
Well, now you should not have to do --F, right? Because now you're up to date.
got it.
Now from now on, you should be able to just say git push.
Okay, cool. I see.
Yeah, it just says you're up to date, so you don't have to do anything.
Okay, cool. Thank you, Professor.
All right, good luck.
Okay, thanks.
Hi, Professor.
Hi, what's up?
I have a question for the assignment 6. So
sure. Lei Fang, I'm sorry. Lei Fang, did you have a real quick question?
I think the previous one is Lei Fang.
Oh, that was okay. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
Just
the issue about the picture, it couldn't load, and when I do an inspect, there's nothing for the picture, but I'm sure that my path is correct. Like for example, like for the who to list, I have a who.json, and here, and my images is here. So I just need one, and I have the data, but I have the picture.
Okay, can I take control? I want to see.
Sure, no problem.
So are you saying this is the broken image right here?
I mean, all the images are broken. I don't know why.
Oh, okay. So let's see. Can I? All right. So Java. Wait, so what is this? Oh, this is A6.
Yep.
Okay.
I just need the pictures. Yeah.
But if this is A6.
Yeah, A6.
Oh, okay, I got it. Okay. So, interesting.
Yeah. This just so weird. I mean.
Okay, so it's slash images Java PNG. That's what it thinks it is. And where is it? Slash images.
I mean, just.
Well, first of all, this is capital images.
Yeah, I use the capital.
Is that okay? Okay. And so I think maybe this should live. What happens if you move this here?
Source.
Directory, blah, 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 blah. Oh,
yeah.
Oh, you already have a.
Yeah, here. I mean, I mean, I guess.
This one?
Yeah.
And
It's
you
the
only have
same.
Java.
I just try use different path and.
Oh, I see.
It doesn't work as well.
How about here?
Oh.
And where was
I can show you. I mean,
where's the build? Where was it?
Who to follow list. Yeah, who.json. Yeah, I can. Oh,
there we go.
Cool. So why I need to like put the directory under the.
Yeah. So anything that is static,
Uh-huh.
like, sound waves or images or anything that is hard coded or that it's not going to change, should live under public.
And also like why like, I mean like this file is in this folder, but why I just use this thing? I mean, it should have like 5 like bigger repository, but I just use one and it reached the picture. Why? I mean.
Yeah. So because the way it gets built,
Mhm.
you have the index page, and underneath you have all the other components. So it's just one level down that it gets built.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Awesome.
And also like, is it fine to like have this one here?
Yeah, if you could maybe put it a little bit maybe more centered so it's a little prettier, I suppose, maybe put it in a container. Put it in a container.
I tried to do like os.json, but I mean.
Yeah. So yeah, no.
It won't work. I mean, just.
No, go back.
Here.
Yeah. So put the Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just.
Yeah. No. What I'm saying is that put it inside of a div that has container. That's it.
Here. I mean.
Yeah. On line 7. No, line 7.
Line 7. Okay.
Oh, okay. No. Wait. You have assignments for web dev. Assignment for web dev. Yeah, I know.
This is the JavaScript file, not the index heap file here.
Oh, okay. Yeah, not this one. I mean, whatever is rendering that on the left-hand side, I would put it inside of a container. That's all.
Okay, but I mean, like, if I try to use this one and like comment those out, I mean, it won't work. Like for example, just black turns black.
Yeah, no, because by the time you get to these links, right, they are already using the browser router.
Yeah.
And whereas the links below are not using the browser router.
Okay, got it. And I think we talked about my apply for the TA last Tuesday, and I text you and email you, but you didn't reply to me. I mean,
Yeah, but I mean, I don't understand. I mean, are you taking the course?
yeah, but I mean, I have answered many questions on a Piazza and also solved many problems
No,
for
no,
my
I
friend.
understand, but the policy for TAs is that you can't be taking the course and be a TA.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay, that makes
yeah, I'm
sense.
sorry, but you know,
Okay.
thank you for helping out.
It's okay.
You know, if you could apply maybe for spring, I'd love to have you.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. Lei Fang, Xiying, Priyal.
Yes, Professor. I do have
Hi.
a question.
Sure, what's up?
May I share my screen?
Sure, go ahead.
Can you see my screen now?
Yep.
So I try to like review the center part by using the group item because this doesn't look nice. So I try to add a border in this right here, but could you help me with that?
What do you want to do?
I try to add a border, a solid
Okay.
border. Yeah, with a color.
Okay.
But
can I see?
Yes.
So let's see. So that's the image.
Yeah.
So what are you doing here?
So I'm doing a list of group, and there'll be so one post will be one item here, and one item have multiple row in there.
Okay. Wait, so if you do. So is that what you mean? Like that border like that?
Oh yeah. So but I have to also add the top left and top right to the wrong border, right?
Yes.
Okay. I will try that by myself.
Sure.
Okay. Thank you, Professor.
All right. Bye. Hi, Priyal. Priyal, you there? Priyal, are you there?
Hello?
Hi.
Hi, sorry, my mic was giving me troubles. So I actually had a quick question about assignment 5.
Okay.
Let me go ahead and share my screen. So I feel like I'm not doing the best job with this. Like it looks good, but at the same time, I feel like I don't know if I'm like, so like I don't know if my code is correct. So this is what I've done, for example, for this little thing up here, right, where we have like amazing show and then at inspiration. So what I did instead of, I kind of hard coded it where I just threw it into like an array. I didn't know if that was
Perfect.
fine or like good
Yeah,
code.
no, that's excellent. That's exactly what you need to do. Yep.
Okay, awesome. And then another thing I was struggling with was like, the little icons, they're kind of squished at the bottom, and I'm not sure how to make them unsquished. If that's like the correct way of asking.
What assignment is this?
Assignment 5.
Okay, so you're using Bootstrap, right?
Yes.
So I would imagine you would use a row with 4 columns, no?
Okay. I definitely was not doing that.
So that would space them out equally.
Okay. Because what I ended up doing was post list item. I just kind of just threw it all in one div tag. So that's probably the error, right?
Yeah, I know. So what you probably want to do is set that line 37.
Yeah.
Where it says WD icons, I would make that a row.
Okay.
And then those spans would be divs with columns.
Oh,
so
okay.
column, so 12 divided by 4, 3 of size 3.
Okay, cool. All right, cool. I'll try that out then. So
yeah, and that's going
change
to
this
space them
to a
even.
row.
Space them even. Yeah.
Okay, and then just change these to columns with a
column
specific
dash
size.
3.
Okay, awesome. I'll go and fix that then. Very
Yeah,
cool.
not large 3, just dash 3. So meaning you always want 3.
Yes.
Right, and then instead of spans, these would be divs.
Okay. So these class equals column or class equals row, are they only associated with like div tags?
Generally, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, cool. Awesome. Yeah, those were all my questions. I did have one more thing. I think I deleted it, unfortunately. I just want to try and bring it back. Because I was trying to do some JavaScript, and so this is what I had initially. I kind of tried to extract all of the elements with the tag A, and then like add active to.
Oh,
it
wow,
didn't
that's
work.
cool.
Like, so what was happening is, like if I clicked on it, it was highlighting, and like, but it wasn't the correct format, and I just couldn't figure out how to do it. You know, and make it look the way that it should look.
So I mean that's awesome. Now the active is being applied to what? Can I see again? Where are you
Sure.
applying active?
To the class name.
To the class name active. So it's definitely working in adding the style, right? It's not the style that we have in the wireframe. So you would need to style it so that it looks what the right. So what's in the wireframe. So go back.
Sure.
The browser. Can you right click on home and bring up the inspector?
Sure.
Can you put it at the bottom so we can see what's going on?
Yeah.
It's a 3 dots. The 3 dots on the right hand side. Yeah, and then that
sorry,
one.
here. And then
right there, right there. Yep. Okay. Yeah. Can you close the bottom window so that we have?
Sure.
Okay. All right. Home. There it is. So label. I can't. So where is the active being applied here?
So if I click on it.
Yeah.
I guess I need to add a separator because it's kind of being thrown together.
Yeah, that's probably what's happening.
Okay, so maybe
you can edit it right there. You can check it right there. Can you go back? Double click on that. Double click and put a space in between.
Okay.
Enter. So that's not right. So maybe try putting it on the LI. Go to the LI and double click on the list group item. Double click.
Right here?
Yeah, put a space active. Enter.
Oh.
Yeah. That's okay. So you want to apply not on the hyperlink. You want to apply on the LI.
On the LI.
Yeah.
This was pretty cool. I didn't quite understand what exactly was going on, to be quite honest, because I was like following a bunch of YouTube videos and then combined like 50 different ideas. But all right, cool. So let me try this out and see if it.
So there's a much easier solution though.
Okay. Yeah, I know. The one that you did in class like really did it. But I was being stubborn and I really wanted this to work. but-
Okay. Yeah, no, it's awesome. Yeah.
Awesome. So
Well, yeah, the thing is that, right, you have this href and blah, blah, blah. So, and,
Yeah.
and you got to make sure that you're applying it on the LIs.
so I wonder if I did LIA, if that would work.
No, because you want to apply on the LI, not on the A.
All right, so I don't think there's a way to do it because href
No, there is.
specifically.
Obviously, there is.
Okay, that's fine. I
Yeah.
think for now I'll just stick with your way and then I'll keep tweaking
Sure.
on the side. Awesome. Thank you so much, Professor.
All right. Good luck.
Thanks.
Bye.
Have a good night.
You too.
Hi, Professor.
Hi, what's up?
Yeah, can I share my screen?
Sure, go ahead.
Yeah, it's just a quick question. I don't know why in your web page you have a by mail completed, but for me, I don't have.
Yeah, I probably was testing the individual
Okay.
to-do item, individual, and then I tested the list.
Okay, because I
Yeah.
can't find in the homework, so.
Yeah, I
Okay.
probably skipped that step. Yeah.
Okay, okay, that's all. Thank you very much.
Sure.
Good night.
Good night.
Bye.
Shijing, you have a question?
Not for now. I think, yeah, I'm good now.
All right. Good
Thank you,
night.
Professor.
You
Good
too.
night.
Take
Thank
care.
you.
Bye-bye.